So we've imported our assets into our project, and now we're going to add a vehicle to our scene to really get on the road since we're making a driving simulator. Watch as I do this before you get started doing it yourself. What I'm going to do is in the main section of our project window, I'm going to double click on vehicles, and that'll open up that folder, and that'll show us all of the different vehicles that we can use in our scene. I like the red truck over here. I think it looks really cool. So I'm going to left click on that vehicle, drag it into our hierarchy on the left side of Unity. When I let go, you can see that our vehicle has now been added into this large area in the center called our scene view. So all of our assets in our assets folder are what we use to populate our scene with different objects like our trucks. If we wanted to add some cool environmental props, maybe some boxes or trees, mountains, whatever we want to add, that's all stored in our assets folders, and then we can drag and drop them into our hierarchy to add them to our scene. Now the hierarchy actually keeps track of all of the different objects that are currently there. So we have our camera, we have a light, we have some environment, and then we have our vehicle that we just added. Now, to really see our vehicle and experience the scene view that allows us to visualize everything that's happening in our game, what you can do is hover over the scene view with your mouse. If you hold the right mouse button, right click, and then you can actually move using the W, A, S, and D keys on your keyboard. So if I press W, I can zoom in. If I press S, I actually fly backwards. If I press A, I fly to the left. If I press D, I fly to the right. So you can use all of these in tandem, and you can actually move your mouse while you're flying around, so you can see all around your scene. Now, I have a problem here. I've gotten myself lost. I actually don't know where I am. I can see these nice mountains, though. So, in your hierarchy, if you make sure that your vehicle, your truck is selected, you can see it's highlighted in blue, so you know it's selected. If you want to make sure, on the right side of Unity, you can see in your inspector, this actually shows you what the current object is selected, which is our truck. With my mouse now hovering over our scene view, if I press the F key on our keyboard, this will actually focus or frame back in our object that we have selected in our hierarchy. So that's super helpful. Another thing that we can do if we just want to get a 360-degree view, if we want to see all around this truck, we can actually hold down the Alt key on our keyboard. And then with our left click, if we drag to the left or to the right, we can actually rotate around. And what this is actually doing is it's rotating around the center point of our screen, which in this case is our vehicle, because we use our F key to focus on it. So now we can see all around our truck. And then another helpful thing that we can do is if we press the Alt key down and hold it again, we can actually use our right mouse button. And if we click and drag that, if we go to the left, we actually zoom out. And if we go to the right, we can actually zoom in. So using all of these different keys, we can navigate around our scene, focus on different objects, and take a look at them in depth. A really helpful keyboard shortcut to know is the undo action. So, for example, with my vehicle selected, if I accidentally moved that vehicle when I was just trying to navigate around the scene, I can press Ctrl+Z or Command+Z, and that will undo my most recent action. This is super helpful to know just in case you ever accidentally move something, or say you adjust something and you don't like the way that it's positioned in your world. You can just undo that to set it back. One thing to note is undo will only undo our most recent action. So in order to get this vehicle back to where it started, since I actually changed this object 3 different times, I have to use Ctrl+Z or Command+Z 1, 2, 3 times, and it will set it backwards. So it's very helpful to remember the undo shortcut on your keyboard. So that way, in case you ever accidentally move something or you just don't like the way that something's positioned, you can just reset it back to what it was before. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab one of your vehicles out of the course library, whichever one you want, left-click and drag it into the hierarchy. And then when your vehicle is added to the scene, get used to playing around with all of the different ways that you can navigate your scene view. With your mouse cursor hovering over the scene view, if you hold right-click down, you can move your camera around as you move your cursor. If you use the different keys like W, A, S, and D, learn how to move around in the world. Make sure you get some practice in also focusing on your object in case you either get lost or you want a better view. So go into your hierarchy on the left, select your vehicle. With your cursor over the scene view, press the F key on your keyboard so that you can frame or focus in on that object. Play around with rotating around the object, so you can press the Alt key, hold it down, and then press and hold your left click on your mouse, and you can rotate it around your vehicle while it's centered in your scene. And then you can even get some practice in pressing and holding the Alt key, clicking and holding your right mouse button, and then dragging it to the left to zoom out or dragging it to the right to zoom in. So get very comfortable with moving and navigating around your scene, focusing around your vehicle, rotating around it, zooming in and out to get a closer look of it. These are very important things to know to navigate your scene. So the easier it will be to move around your scene and get comfortable with seeing all of your different objects and where they're placed, the easier it will be as you make your game. So go play around with the different navigation keys, and now it's your turn.